I'm Connie Rule. I'm the director of the Bethel Park Chamber, and we welcome you this year to our annual Veterans Day lunch. This year, our charity and ongoing charity now throughout the years will be adopting companion dogs through Animal Friends. We've appreciated all the sponsors this year who have given so generously to help us get dogs, and we have put in for 7 companion dogs with any of the veterans that are located in our service area. So if you're interested, please contact us. Thank you. And this is Joe Hanlon from Animal Friends.
Yeah, I'm from Animal Friends. I'm on the Veterans Ambassador Council. And Animal Friends has been serving the veterans community since 1943. We have companion animals available. We're honored to be working with the Bethel Park people to provide animals to their veterans in the county, in the area. Thank you very much.
We're going to say the Pledge of Allegiance. All right, now everyone stand. Please uncover. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you for standing. I'm going to now say a prayer, the invocation. Heavenly Father, we thank you for this day. We thank you for all those who served. We thank you for the families that supported them as they did serve us and keep us safe and free. We thank you, God, for the lives that they've lived and the contribution that they've made. We ask that you would just continue to keep us under your precious blood, to cover us, and in these blessings we ask in your precious name. Amen.
Thank you. You can be seated now, please. I want to thank Ian Ethan, who's with the municipality, for doing our flag salute. She is also a Marine veteran. And Diane Ford from the Melting Pot, also a Chamber Board member, for doing the invocation. We thank you all for coming today. We know that people are still having trouble getting parked, so we're going to start at least with this part of the program. I want to thank the municipality for partnering with us this year and giving us the accommodations, which really were a big help, and also the public relations person, Kim Waitman, who's done a great job in getting the public relations out and all the printed materials. We thank her. Also want to thank Brownie Barbecue and Sam's Club and Al's Cafe for our meal today. Steve Kingsland, who has Rowdy Barbecue, has always done a great job for us every year. And since he does such a good job, guess who gets it every year? He does. So keep those people in mind when you're out about and wanting to find places to dine. They give us great support, so please support them. We also want to mention to make sure that you filled out a slip. If you haven't, we'll come around to the tables and get you one for our door prize. I hear it's really great. It's a lot of lottery tickets. It's going to be a door prize, so you never know. It could be the big one. So please fill out the form if you haven't already. Also want to thank the community center staff. A lot of them are new this year, so they had a lot of issues to deal with, and they met them quite well for us, so we want to thank them. And last but not least is Animal Friends, who will be our partners ongoing, particularly for this project. I want to say that the Chamber had a great success this year. We've chosen Animal Friends to be our partner for our ongoing charity. We will be providing companion dogs for our vets. So if you know any vets that live in our service area that are looking for a companion dog, we will be sponsoring the dogs throughout the year. But we were able to get 7 this time. That's how generous all our donors were. So we will be getting pictures with you and the dog, hopefully, and some others, thanking you for your contribution that you can hang it in your business. but our project's going to be called PAWS, P-A-W-S for vets. So you'll be seeing a lot more about that going forward. But we want to thank you. So we're going to start with our program. We're going to start with Mary Papik, who's a Veterans Ambassador Council member from Animal Friends and a veteran. Mary?
Thank you, and thank you for asking me to be here today. I am an Army veteran. My husband is an Air Force veteran. We have a lot of good, fun times between us, and other people like to jab us about who does what for the military, but it takes all of us. I don't care which service you're in. I don't care if you are a civilian who is supporting. It takes all of us to make things happen. So Animal Friends believes in that philosophy as well. We take animals, sometimes off the street, sometimes being surrendered for other reasons. We help those animals to calm down in the shelter. We get them ready to become good members of society and to be adopted out successfully. And many times we're fortunate enough to work with veterans who are looking for companionship. One of the things that is proven is that when veterans come back from serving, they miss having their comrades around them. Many of you in this room, I know, have been there. You've experienced that firsthand. One of the problems, especially with the veterans who are coming back today, is that they come home and they lock themselves in their houses and they do not leave. The PTSD is so real that they cannot go outside. They close the windows, they close the drapes, and eventually, if they're lucky, someone discovers that this is how they are living. Animal Friends has been fortunate enough to work with several of those veterans to get them a companion animal that has provided them the reason to go outside. Sometimes they have to start in their backyard because they can't face going out in the front yard. But they get out, they take that dog for a walk. Eventually they're walking that dog in the front yard. Animal Friends has volunteers, such as this wonderful gentleman over here whose name is Sonny, even though his tag says Hammer. But Sonny will help those people even to the point of going and picking them up and helping them get to a vet or providing and delivering pet supplies if needed. That's what Animal Friends is all about. Animal Friends believes in that animal-human bond. It does not have to be a dog. It can be a cat. It can be a rabbit. We have placed all three very successfully with veterans, and the reports back, they send chills up your spine. And I'm here to tell you specifically about one of those reports. I lived it firsthand. My husband is a 26-year Air Force vet. He spent 2 tours in Vietnam. He has diabetes. He was having difficulties not being able to control it. We didn't realize it. We had an animal that was an Animal Friends dog. We were fostering her. Her name was Savina. Savina cried so badly at night that she had to be in my husband's room. He went out and played cards. He came home. He went to bed. A little after 2 o'clock in the morning, I was awakened to the sound of what sounded like a banshee from a horror movie. I couldn't understand why he wasn't telling her to be quiet. When I went to check on him, he was in a diabetic coma. I called 911. Savina was having a fit the entire time. As soon as the first person came, she laid down and she was quiet. did not utter another sound while the paramedics were there, the sheriff's deputy was there, my son was there. She did not peep one time. They took his blood sugar. His blood sugar was 20. For any of you that are diabetic, you know that that's a death sentence. Had it not been for that dog, my husband would have been dead. I would not have known it in time to rescue him. Sabina was not trained. She was a foster dog in search of a home. We were trying to get her to be able to be handled and be a successful member of society. She became a member of our household that next day. She stayed with us for several years, continued to alert us when he was in crisis, and then they found the medical reason for that and were able to fix it. This was in April of 2011. This happened. My husband is still alive. So I have a veteran foster experience and adoption experience that hopefully nobody in this room ever has to go through. But this is what animals can and do for us all the time. I can tell you stories of people who have adopted an animal, been cutting their grass, and had the animal go find help next door when they die, when they fall over from a heart attack, or just fall and can't get up. Sunny knows the story of the lady who adopted the dog and was finally able to open the drapes on her house. During the pandemic, I was asked if I would please call our veteran adopters and check on them. I called many of them and just said, I'm just calling to see how you're doing. Most of them, bless their hearts, said, I'm sorry, I can't afford to give you anything now. I had to convince them that I was not calling and asking for a donation. I was calling to check on them. Did they need anything? How is the animal doing? Do you need groceries? What is your status? They could not believe that Animal Friends was providing that and trying to check on them. So Animal Friends is more than just a place to go and adopt an animal. Once you're part of our family, you're part of our family forever. How much of a part you want to be is up to you. You can get roped into being a foster. You can get roped into helping with training classes, stuffing envelopes, raising funds, such as the people in this room are working on for us. It's all part of the end game of helping the animals get adopted and helping the veterans and the people in Pittsburgh get the animals and the lives that they need. So again, I would like to thank you. I would like to thank you for your fundraising efforts and the things that you are doing for us. And certainly we will be here to answer questions. And that's about all I have to say. I was asked to keep it short.
Thank you, Mary. We are pleased and really surprised that Natalie Mihalik has a busy schedule today, but she did make room in her schedule to come and join us today. So I'd like to have her say a few things right now. Natalie, our re-elected representative.
Thanks, Connie. Is this on? Can you hear me? Okay. Thank you. And I'm not Matt Matisik, as you can see from the program. I wasn't supposed to speak today, and hopefully he's able to get here with his service dogs. I think hearing from Mary, I think this is really important for our veterans community, and I'd like to personally learn more about it, because we do know that our veterans, almost 1 million veterans in Pennsylvania, and a lot of them are out there struggling, so whatever we can do to help to assist them. So I'll be a little bit off topic because I didn't know we were doing Animal Friends, and I apologize for that, but Connie said I might need you to talk, and I said, I come prepared, Connie. I have a speech for a different event, so we're going to try it out here. It is an honor to be here in Bethel Park today with all of you on Veterans Day. Today, across the nation, our soldiers and our sailors are being honored, showered with ceremonies and free coffee and awesome lunches and parades in recognition of their sacrifice and their service, all in the name of freedom. But it shouldn't just be today. It should be every day. Any chance you get to express your gratitude, sponsoring a dog, doing whatever you can for our veteran community, because without these brave men and women and their willingness to serve and their willingness to defend our freedom, to defend the United States, the land that we all love, what would our nation be? Each and every veteran at one time in your life, I'm looking out at all of you, you remember that day, you took the oath, you raised your right hand, and you swore to defend the Constitution of the United States against all enemies, foreign and domestic, even if that meant protecting it with your own life. A veteran is not selfish. A veteran puts service above self, and so does the Rotary Club, right, Ryan? Our veterans are unique. Our veterans struggle. Our veterans are our heroes. And I'll talk about a couple of the heroes that I personally know, because I think sharing stories, and certainly stories like yours, and keeping those stories alive is just one really important way to honor our veterans. One of these heroes is Angeline Jeffbaugh, and I don't know if anybody knows her. She was a longtime Bethel Park resident. Her husband ran Fisher's Pharmacy that closed when they put in the trolley station over by the mall. But she was known as Aunt Angel, and the name Angel couldn't be more fitting. She turned 100 years young this week, in fact. In 1944, she volunteered as an Army nurse, and she was shipped off to Normandy during the invasion, where she treated wounded American soldiers and sometimes Nazi prisoners. She earned a Meritorious Service Medal for what she was able to do over there. She trained the corpsmen who were in the front lines of those beaches, who administered the care to those men coming off of the invasion. I asked Angel the other day for her birthday party about her service and thanked her for her bravery and thanked her for saving so many of those American lives. And she so humbly responded, "It was my pleasure." Another American hero, and I don't think he was able to join us today because just like me, he's running around and just being with as many veterans as he can and honoring them. But it's our state senator, Devlin Robinson, and I know a lot of you in the room have met him. But he enlisted in the Marine Corps in 2001. After 9/11, he went to his recruiter's office and changed his contract to infantry because he knew his country needed him. He did 3 tours of duty in 3 years, less than 3 years. I'm probably messing that up, and I'm glad he's not here to correct me on that. But he was first in Iraq, and he was part of the brigade that was instrumental in taking Nasiriyah. After that battle, he would go door to door, many times under heavy fire, and rescuing POWs. Behind one of those doors was Jessica Lynch. He marched to Baghdad, helped take that city, before he was sent again to fight in Afghanistan. If you've met him, you know he couldn't be prouder to be a Marine and to have served our United States. My father-in-law, Bob Stuck, drafted into Vietnam, spending the last of his teen years crawling through rice paddies, being hunted by the Viet Cong, watching his comrades fall to continuous grenade attacks. The shrapnel he carries in his body still is a constant reminder of his sacrifice to this country. And a story about my personal hero, and I've told stories about him before at many Memorial Day ceremonies and whatnot, and I apologize for the repetition, but he had so much to do with shaping me into who I am. World War II, Pacific Theater, over 40,000 Americans who never walked away from these places like Okinawa and Saipan, Solomon Islands, Iwo Jima. 40,000 Americans never came home, never walked down the aisle, never welcomed a child into the world, never got to watch that child grow up in the country that he helped to secure their freedom and told stories to his grandkids. But one of those brave young men came home, and I stand here today because he did. My paternal grandfather, Bill Mihalik, who was a United States Marine. At 19 years of age, he trained at Parris Island, joined the 4th Marine Division as a corporal at Camp Pendleton. His division shipped out to Hawaii to prepare for the invasion of Saipan. One day when he was scouting the beach, he was hit by a Japanese mortar shell, and with shrapnel in his chest and back, close to his heart, his fellow Marines carried him to safety. He recovered, and months later, he was sent to Iwo Jima on the first wave, where his division fought their way across the entire island during some of the bloodiest days of that war. During those weeks, he was again wounded and continued to fight. He was second in command of that platoon. His superior, killed in action, left him to lead the rest of his division across the rest of the island through the battle, emerging victorious. These are just a few of the nation's heroes and a few of my heroes, to whom we owe an enormous debt of gratitude for securing our freedom and defending this land that we all love. Winston Churchill once said, "Never was so much owed by so many to so few." We're a free nation because of these heroes. But right now, as you just saw earlier this week, we're a nation deeply divided. When Aunt Angel was treating those young soldiers coming off of those bloody beaches in Normandy, she wasn't treating a Republican soldier or a Democrat soldier. She was treating an American soldier. When Senator Robinson was marching through the desert, engaged in firefights, taking cover in foxholes, he wasn't side by side with a black Marine or a white Marine. They were just Marines. When Bob Stuck and his comrades were carrying their wounded off of the rice paddy fields and back to camp so they wouldn't die alone, they weren't doing it because it was a liberal comrade or a conservative comrade or a woke comrade or whatever the opposite of woke is, I guess asleep. They were just Americans. Before my grandfather shipped out for World War II, he said of America at that time, everyone was involved in the war effort. Factories mobilized in producing supplies for the military. Women joined the workforce to help in the factories. Food was rationed. Boy Scouts pulled carts through the streets collecting cans to send to the troops because they were Americans. Free coffee and parades, lunches, these are all nice things, and we have to do them, and we have to continually honor our veterans and thank them when we see them on the streets, when we see the hats. But this Veterans Day, when you see your neighbor who had a different political sign, maybe it was my opponent, or you see a coworker who's got a different color skin, or a stranger on the street who from first glance you think doesn't have anything in common with you, remember that we're all Americans. Remember our heroes, what they sacrificed, why they did it, the heroes that never came home. The land of the free because of the brave. That's how you can say thank you. So thank you and happy Veterans Day. And support Animal Friends because I think that they have a real chance at helping some of our veterans who are really struggling. Thank you.
Our next speaker hasn't been able to make it today. It's Mike Matasic. He's a 15-year veteran with the Air Force, and he had 3 combat tours in Iran, Iraq, and Afghanistan. And Sonny, who was his companion dog, was to make it today, but Sonny's rather busy right now this morning, so our best to all of them. I also like to mention that Reno Virgili, who generally comes here, you know him from the communities, home recuperating after surgery. Ed from Brookside, also, you know, he comes every year, and he, 100 years old, and he wasn't able to make it today, so we really dear miss them both. Also, we'd like to say just a few moments of silence for Al from Al's Cafe, who was also a veteran, and he died last month. So those are all people that we're missing, at least at this event this year. So I thank all of you for coming. It's been great, and your support is always appreciated. And we're looking forward to continue to work with Animal Friends and to get more companion dogs, because if you've ever watched them in action, they are so greatly needed, and they certainly are helping with the suicide rate that's so prevalent even in Allegheny County. So thank you, and we're going to start lunch right now. And we're going to start with the back table there. Yeah, right there, Diane. And then Diane will go along and tell you when it'll be your turn. Thank you.